The Conservative Party is trying to kill every single man, woman, and child in this country. White, black, brown, I don't give a fuck what color you are, what shape you are, what spirit, animal, whatever the fuck you are. The Conservative Party of this nation is currently digging a grave for you. But you can't tell MAGA shit. As it pertains to the big bullshit bill that Donald Trump and his horde of minions in Congress are now pushing onto this nation, it is now passed through the Senate and it's going back to the House. We will see if House Republicans have the balls, the ones that claim to be so fiscally conservative. We can't run up the budget, we can't run up the debt. We're going to see if they're going to stop this. They couldn't care less about the Medicaid cuts. They couldn't care less about the SNAP cuts. They couldn't care less about the destruction to energy policy. They don't care about that, but they do care about the deficit. That's all they care about. I'm not saying that's not a reasonable and valid concern, but when the living standards of the nation are on the line and you're someone in power, maybe you should care about that so you don't find yourself being drugged through the streets 10 years from now. But what do I know? Anyways, the Senate sent the bill back to the House, and here's what the Senate's version of the big, beautiful bill consists of. The bill that will destroy this country, that much I can assure you, if passed. It had Donald Trump's sweeping domestic policy package that's moving through the Senate would affect virtually every American, overhauling tax, healthcare, and energy policy. It renews the tax cuts that Trump signed into law in his first term and pays for them in part with steep cuts to Medicaid, food aid programs, and clean energy funding. But the sprawling package also touches on a range of other policy issues from immigration to the military to space exploration. Get the fuck out of here. According to the latest projection from the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, over the next 10 years, the legislation would cause revenues to decrease by about $4.5 trillion, while cutting spending by $1.2 trillion, increasing the national debt by $3.3 trillion. Now, these are the same ogres, demons, hag ravens that go on and on and on about the debt. Lie. They go on and on and on about the debt, but when they get in office, they don't give a single solitary about the debt. The debt clock is always on watch when a Democrat's in office, but when a conservative gets in office, now all of a sudden the debt's not that big of a deal, and kicking undocumented immigrants straight in the face is more important than making sure our nation financially survives the next decade. Brutalizing and kidnapping and disappearing people is a much bigger priority for Donald Trump and friends. You can't write this shit. You can't make this shit up. Now, conservatives have sat there and lied about the tax cuts they're going to be putting on taxes and overtime and child tax credit and Social Security, claiming it's permanent, it's going to be real big. Lying. They are lying. They're so pathetic they can't even go all the way. Look. In Trump's dishonest White House speech on Thursday, he falsely claimed that Medicaid will be left the same by the bill. In fact, both the version of the legislation that was narrowly passed by the House in May and the latest version that was just pushed through by the Senate, in this article contemplated but now pushed through, contain major Medicaid policy changes and funding cuts that are expected to result in millions of people losing insurance coverage. Gets worse. Trump also falsely claimed the bill includes no tax on Social Security benefits. The legislation would not actually fulfill Trump's campaign promise to completely eliminate taxes on Social Security benefits, though it would temporarily give seniors a substantially bigger tax deduction. Trump falsely claimed there'd be a 68 tax increase if Congress didn't approve the bill. There is no credible estimate of this at all. Instead of actually removing the tax on Social Security, he's simply decreasing it, still shitting all over the elderly in this nation. For child tax credits, they want to permanently increase the annual child tax credit to $2,200. House Republicans have proposed bumping it up to $2,500, but scaling it back to $2,000 after 2028. Why do they want to scale it back to that right after 2028? The reason being is because they want all of these benefits for the American people to go poof right when Donald Trump supposedly, possibly, maybe leaves office. I don't know why people are assuming he's leaving. If this guy is still alive by that particular point in time, he's not going anywhere. And that remains to be the same with every other credit that Donald Trump is giving here. All of this stuff is meant to go away in 2028. Why? So the American people find themselves missing these things they should be entitled to and blaming whoever is in office after him, as if there was anybody who's even going to be taking office after him anyway. So I don't even know why they're wasting their time with this, as if they'd ever even question Trump's third term. But the reality is that all of this are just cheap little concessions sold as massive socialist-like policies that Donald Trump is giving the American people, when in reality, they're minor, short-term concessions made to be retracted when the Republican Party feels as though their political opponents will be back in office. These people are sick and twisted in the head. They are crazy. They are absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. They're going to be cutting Medicaid, food aid programs, SNAP. They're going to be destroying the poor and the middle class, destroying us. Our livelihoods are going to be diminished to pay for the tax cuts of the wealthy. And if you think that the elite Democrats aren't in favor of this, you're wrong. We've seen Chris Cuomo and the like, and Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams and the like losing their minds at the thought of Zohran Mamdani and AOC, losing their minds at the thought of the American people no longer finding our standard of living being trampled upon to fund the over extravagant and greedy lifestyles of the ultra wealthy. They can't stand the thought of us saying no more. They can't stand it. Henceforth, you see a lot of them saying very little about this big bullshit bill, but losing their mind over Zohran Mamdani, who has the taboo and clearly just malevolent and malicious idea of taking the money of New Yorkers and using it to benefit New Yorkers. Oh shit. Who could have possibly thought of that? Why would he ever propose that? So evil, so insane, so crazy. That's the problem here, is they know exactly what it is that they're doing here. And this bill has been sold as some kind of massive benefit to the American people, but it's made the fuck up. It's short-term tax credits that aren't even that significant, meant to pacify the American public right as they're sitting there pickpocketing, not just $1, not $2, the whole wallet right out of your pocket and running off with a smile on their face. That is exactly what is happening here. They know exactly what it is that they are doing. These people are polluting this planet, starving the American people, robbing the American people, and taking hordes of cash and dumping it into the hands of those who already have way too much money to begin with. That is what's happening here. And Donald Trump does this in the wake of his tariff warfare he's waging on the world, knowing, or at least I think he knows, the damage he's going to be doing to the American taxpayer. The average everyday American can't burden these tariffs. We can't shoulder the burden of this. We can't shoulder the burden of these nonsensical economic policies. The American public doesn't have the buying power to be going to the store and finding the most minute goods, the most miscellaneous goods increasing in price every fucking day. What good is it for a tax credit to be put on vehicles if Donald Trump's just going to increase the price of vehicles with his stupid ass steel tariffs? What good is any of this, especially in the wake of him fucking up all of these people's access to food? Oh, and by the way, I just made all these groceries from Latin America even more expensive because I'm waging tariff warfare on the entire world. I'll be fine though, but you, not so much. And the American people are just supposed to tolerate this. This is going to destroy this country. The economy cannot survive this level of malevolence, incompetence, evil, stupidity. It's impossible. This bill will destroy this country. You think the American people are going to be able to just sit there and watch their healthcare just go poof, watch their food go poof, watch the economy go poof, and pretend like the Republican Party isn't crazy forever? The Democratic Party was able to protect this country from the Republicans kind of for quite some time, but it's over now. Trump won, and it seems like he's getting his way. The American people won't be able to sit there and say, nothing ever changes, everything remains the same. Woo, we about to find out. Boy, are we about to find the fuck out. Things change and things do not remain the same. Some generations are bound and destined to live throughout historical events, and unfortunately, that's us, y'all. That's us. Trump's generation had the benefit of being born right after World War II. They got to live through America's golden age. And now here we are to inherit an honestly apocalyptic America. If we're being perfectly honest here, this is going to destroy people's healthcare, food access, the ecosystem, the environment, the economy. I mean, like, it's unbelievable what this bill is going to do in conjunction with the economic warfare that Trump is waging on this nation and the rest of the world. This bill will destroy this country. I promise you that. The entire purpose of this bill is to fund the tax cuts for the ultra wealthy with the money and living standards and happiness of the working class. That's all this is about. This is class warfare right in front of your eyes. They're taking our hard-earned money and hoarding it all upon themselves. Mike Johnson speaking down to the American people about these young men who aren't working. They're not working jobs. They got to go work jobs. Excuse me, but those young men's parents pay for your fucking healthcare. Eric Adams giving a ridiculous speech about how this election is a battle between a silver spoon and someone who had to get it from the mud. As if you didn't just spend your entire term corrupting your way toward generational wealth, your hand sticking to money from here, your hand sticking to money from there, and you have the audacity to level accusations of privilege, to levy accusations of nepotism, to levy accusations of not being cut out for the job, and whole time you've been in a corner silently clinging to wealth like there's no fucking tomorrow. How dare you question the will of the people of New York, and by extension the people of this country, wanting to invest their money into making their lives better instead of investing their money into benefiting you. You acquired a position of power funded and paid for by the people of New York and use it for your own personal gain, and yet find the time to lecture the people of New York about what they do or don't deserve? What part of the job of the mayor is to hoard money from different countries as a corrupt con artist fraud? Somebody help translate this for me. I don't speak bum. I don't speak fraud. I don't speak scammer. So if Eric Adams wants to respond to this, I need Trump or Elon Musk to do the interpretation for me. Preferably Elon. Trump can't even speak English. But the point is this. These people know exactly what they are doing. The national debt is going to go sky fucking high. Borrowing costs are going to go sky. The yield's already going up because of the tariffs. Now it's really about to be fucked up. No one's going to want to invest in the United States. No one's going to want to get a bond seeing what's going on right now. Tariffs, the big bullshit bill, the list goes on and fucking on. Then on top of that, the environment's going to be fucking destroyed. I mean, this is an apocalyptic bill. This bill is insane. This bill is the end. It's not just the fault of the politicians given the power to do this. Someone gave them the power. It is the fault of the American voters who gave these fucking fools the authority and power to do this. That is the reality of what is happening here. These people are about to deprive millions of Americans of their health insurance. And you know what J.D. Vance had to say about that? According to J.D. Vance, the loss of healthcare for millions and millions of Americans, according to J.D., is minutia. It's minutia. It's not that big of a deal. It's miscellaneous, unimportant, side quest. Ain't none too serious. Look at JD smiling with glee at the thought of millions and millions of Americans dropping dead from illnesses that could be treated or cured. Trump Vance, right? Y'all was screaming Trump Vance all the 2024. Trump Vance. Shut the fuck up. Now look at him. He's laughing at y'all. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. You can almost see the baby blood dripping from his mouth. Look at that smile. This man calls the deprivation of the American people of their healthcare, the depriving of their healthcare, the deprivation they will experience as a result of the big bullshit bill. He calls that minutia. Now, these people are all about hoarding wealth because they know money is not a joke. They know wealth ain't no joke. They know making sure your family is taken care of is not minutia. These niggas know, bro. That's the thing. They don't want you to have it. They deprive a sense of, they gain a sense of meaning. They derive a sense of meaning. They derive a sense of belonging and superiority from wealth and status and being above people. That's why it's so important for you, the working class, to think that your money is their money and their money is their money. That's why it's so important for them to believe this. That's why it's so important for them to have you believe it as well. See, they must believe it to justify the evil, and they must have you believe it to facilitate the evil. That's the reality of it. That's why JD Vance and the rest of these people are doing all kind of shady deals with the Saudis and this, that, and the third, and all kind of fraud and all kind of corruption to accumulate wealth for themselves. Because although they would have you believe healthcare is not that big of a deal, and you know, come on, poverty, who cares? Whole time they're in the cut trying to make themselves richer and richer and richer. These people are the scum of the earth, and every single person who facilitated their victory is a fucking idiot. And watch line by line as all of them pretend like we didn't vote for that. Oh yes, you fucking did. This is conservative policy 101. They've always been about smaller government, not taking care of people, not helping people. They've always been about this. And watch as Dave Smith, Joe Rogan, and the like sit there and say, I can't believe this would happen. I would never vote for something like this. We voted for America first. No more money to those Ukrainians. Like, sure, their hospitals are being blown up and their schools are being blown up and their women violated and their bodies desecrated. Not that big of a deal. I mean, we don't really care. We just want them to stop receiving money. That's all we voted for, was for the Ukrainians to die. That's literally that was literally the meaning of America first. America first as a slogan all of 2024 was, why are we sending all of this money to Ukraine and not spending any on the American people? Then Trump and company win and did what they've always wanted to do: stop spending money on the American people. Congratulations. In the words of DJ Khaled, you played yourself. Fucking conservatives. These people should be doing things other than voting. Something else, like, I don't know, like fishing for hot dogs out of water. Y'all already suck on hot dogs to begin with. It's not like it's anything different. Do something else with your time. This is ridiculous. Y'all niggas voting is just weird. You know what I mean? Like, should y'all really be voting? It's like, do something else. Like, y'all ain't got nothing else to do. God damn.